What is up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Talk to Me here on notfest.com. As always, I am Joshua Toomey, joined by the ever so aching Chris Aiken. Chris, how we doing?
I'm here. I'm here doing it. I am dying with this fucking nerve problem with my shoulder, but I'll tough it out for Talk to Me fans.
Tough it out. Yeah, I'm gonna have to like filter all the CMS and the Chris Aiken Presents fan into these shows because
that's the only one I'm doing.
You've been right. You've been taking the other ones off. So
yeah.
So now you gotta. Are you going to? Do you think you'll be able to pull it off on Saturday? 6 hours of?
No way.
1 hour.
1 hour, maybe 6 hours. Absolutely. There's zero chance of that happening this week.
Right.
Just no. Dude, this is a struggle. I'm hopeful. Now tomorrow, I've been waiting. This has been the big problem. I've been waiting to see a doctor. I've got a doctor's appointment for next Wednesday. That was from 2.5 weeks ago. That was the nearest that they could schedule me in. And they were like, well, go to the emergency room if it's that painful. And I just don't want to pay $5,000 worth of MRIs and bullshit into my fucking arm just to get a cortisone shot. So, I've been waiting. So tomorrow I actually have a chiropractor appointment and I'm going to try, since it's relatively cheap, $150 or whatever it is, I'm going to try and let them dig into my shoulder and just fucking crack it back to see if that can alleviate some of the pain here. Cause this is fucked up. I mean, I've been literally laying in bed for 2 solid weeks for 15 days. So I got to get out of bed and do something. This is fucked up.
Yeah, man, it's been a tough one. The wife was asking, to make sure are you taking some pain meds? How are you managing the pain?
Ibuprofen, man. I'm not a pain med guy. I probably should. I probably should do something, but I'm just really not in the mood to reach out to all my fellow partiers to find pain meds. So, and again, I can't get to the doctor to get real ones.
Yeah, you could just go to like East Palestine, Ohio, and drink some of the water. I'm sure that'll help
really
you out.
Just take a deep breath, and my whole arm will be great.
All of a sudden,
I look like the fucking Hulk.
Right. Well, I did see you post an interview. Who was the interview with this week?
Oh, I don't know. Those are all old.
It was the Brad Gillis, I believe.
Oh yeah, Night Ranger. Yeah, those are. Yeah. I'm taking some of the Aftershock stuff that doesn't fit what Aftershocks is anymore, and I'm repackaging it as Chris Aiken Presents, just to give people some content here, so that they don't realize that I've gone. But yeah, there's Brad Gillis. I think Steve Vai is going to be one of them this week. Nice. I don't remember, dude. It's all a blur of pain and ice packs to me right now.
Well, we had Glenn Matlock on last week, and then this week I threw up my interview with Trey Daniels of POD.
Nice.
That was a lot of fun. The Glenn Matlock interview got some press from. There's a new website pulling rock stuff. It's called rockcelebrities.net.
Okay.
And if you think that Blabbermouth's headlines are clickbait, like these dudes are like because I get the little Google notification or whatever saying like, hey, you've been mentioned in this article, and like I had the Glenn Matlock one, which was kind of it was kind of what he said, but really wasn't what he said. And then you open up the article, and it tells you the whole article talking about how he backed Steve Jones in the Hulu documentary, but he didn't, really love it, or he didn't really sign off on how he was portrayed as leading the band or whatever. So it was kind of like, I guess he kind of said that. And then what was the other one? The other one was the Shinedown episode. And they even like kind of quoted me in it too. And I was like, I don't really know if that was kind of the conversation that was being said, but yeah, I'll take it, man. But yeah, this rockcelebrities.net, they've been pulling for me lately, and they've been kind of skewing stuff. I'm like, I don't know if I really want to start reposting some of these because they're stretching the truth on that one.
Well, and the problem with that is, I mean, look, it's always great to get press.
Yeah.
But the problem is that if it's skewed the wrong way, then the next time those guys are all doing interviews, they won't want to do your show.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, I didn't do anything wrong here.
And the other website is We Are the Pit or thepit.com or whatever. Yeah. And they have just been like rehashing like 7-year-old stories lately. I guess on Saturdays they've been kind of doing like maybe like a throwback,
Right.
like, hey, in case you missed it. I mean, they rehashed my like Glenn Benton thing from years ago, and
right,
and stuff like that. And then they pulled out the Brandon Boyd and the Jinko jeans, and they pulled out some snot stuff from like one of my first ever what do you call it? Not Fest Twitch stuff.
Right.
I mean, they are just. I was like, put me on the freaking payroll. I'll guide you to all the good stuff if you want to start pulling 5-7-year-old stuff from the show.
Sure. Hey, but again, dude, take it while you get it. Good,
oh yeah,
any press is good press, right?
Oh, I'll definitely take it, man. Yeah. So I kind of want to get into like a little bit of a topic before we get into the news, and it was something that I noticed. So Sleep Token posted a new song the other day. I got the email in the inbox. Email the publicist who I have a really good relationship with. She's like, they don't do interviews, period.
Okay.
And then and the same publicist does Falling in Reverse. Unless Ronnie Radke knows it, like Ryan J. Downey did a really awesome sit down interview with him, but they're friends, they're friends, he doesn't, Ronnie Radke just doesn't do press.
Right.
And later that day, I saw Bees on Twitter post about, Falling in Reverse. They don't do press. Sleep Token aren't doing press. Even further back, a band like Tool, like things like they just never did press. And Sleep Token and Falling in Reverse right now are two of some of the biggest bands out there.
Sure.
And I was just kind of throwing it out there, man. Do you think that's going to be a trend of kind of like pulling back because there's just so many outlets and so many things? Like, let's just don't do any press at all and kind of be against the grain.
Well, I hope not, but right. what I would like to see is that they pull back and stop doing every interview that's out there. It'd be nice if they had some sort of a requirement of either, the interviews are good or there's more than 6 followers or whatever, and I'm not bad mouthing anybody, as far as starting up and doing it, but I would like it to be a little more, rare. It would be. Yeah. It would be great that when we get pitched to do an interview with whoever it is, that we're not one of 75 interviews with the same guy, over 3 days doing interviews where they say the same shit over and over again. It would be nice, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I think another thing that sadly is becoming a trend, and I don't know if you've seen it, but there's that guy, Sinkin Stanley, that's out there.
Yeah.
What he's doing, I honestly could see the bands pulling back on our kind of interviews and just doing you got a question, we'll do it in a cameo. Mm-hmm. And that's what that guy's doing is he'll pay John Corabi or whoever $25 to ask his question. And I could see the band say, well, why am I doing 3 days of press on this shit when I could just do cameos? And if charging us, and I ain't paying them. Fuck no.
Right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, we'll do a half-hour interview, but the 30-second Instagram Live or Instagram Reel will get 10 times the amount of views as the full-on interview. And so I mean, you definitely at some point like, why even do the interviews? Like, if a band like I had Shinedown on recently. Shinedown doesn't need me, like I need Shinedown. You know what I'm saying? To kind of get the word out there, because I mean they can do a quick TikTok video and it's just going to get more views, more shares, more everything than anything we're going to do. Right?
Yeah, exactly. The only thing they need us for is to guide them on selling their record.
Right.
That's really they need us to say, hey, you got a new record, tell us about it. That's what they need.
Yeah, I will say, man, Sinzak is out doing. Chris Sinzak, Decibel Geek, is out there doing a lot of press for Rockin' Pod, and he's posting like just shows I've never heard of. Like it's insane the amount of press he's done for Rockin' Pod, and it's like every day he's posting another interview with I'm like, how many rock shows are there out there? Like two dopes like me and you out there just blabbering on about music, man. I mean, there's just so many.
There's everybody now, the pandemic taught everybody that if you could afford $100 camera and a $50 mic, that you could have a show.
Right.
So everybody spent that $150 and now they have a show.
Right. And welcome to Talk to Me.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, man, I'm just kind of curious to see if bands are going to take the approach of like, just pulling back from not doing as much press, because it seems like, so especially the larger bands, they'll pop up in the inbox, but getting an actual interview is like pulling teeth sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and you know what, man, the biggest bands have always had it that way. The biggest bands have always had that mentality of, well, if you're not the LA Times or the New York Times or the biggest podcast, and most of them, like Metallica, has Metallica ever done a podcast?
Hetfield did Rogan.
Okay, well, Rogan doesn't count. That's a TV show wrapped in a podcast shell.
Right. Man, I feel like he did something now. He did like 3 or 4. It was like Marin and Rogan and something else. But yeah, it was, but it was obviously the big ones.
Yeah. He didn't just pick, he didn't just go at random and say, okay, here's a rock podcast, let me do it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, which is, they can hit a million times more people doing obviously Marin and Rogan.
Sure.
But even when that happened though, I remember I was like, if Hetfield was to do this show or CMS or, I think you're going to get about the same press overall. You're not, there's not going to be just a segment of the population that doesn't at least somehow get it, because it's just going to go everywhere, No,
well, and it's just, dude, it's kind of the blabbermouth theory anyway. We make blabbermouth all the time, me and you.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we make many fans off of blabbermouth, me or you. I think people go to it because they want to find out what Shinedown is talking about or what Steve Vai is talking about. They don't give a shit that it's on Chris Akin Presents or Talk to Me. Most of them don't even know the name of the show. They just click it to see their guy. They don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's been so many times where you'll dive into the blabbermouth comments and you're like, most people are just reading the headline and commenting on the headline. And then you've got a small segment that actually reads the article and like, all right. So, and then comments on that. And then even a smaller segment actually clicks play and checks out the actual interview.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know that it even matters.
Right. Well, we will find out soon, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, man, it has finally happened. Speaking of blabbermouth.net.
Yes.
And we'll shout out the show, man. The Josta show. Looks like he had an interview with Dino and was it Milo Silvestro? I'm sure.
Depends on who you talk to. If you talk to the guy, it's Milo. If you talk to Dino, it's Milo.
Yeah, in the in the video, yeah, they both say his name all wonky, man. But yeah. Well, we'll kind of dive into this, man. So Dino has finally announced Fear Factory vocalist. We'll go with Milo Silvestro,
right?
Which I do believe is
well, that's how he says it, so I'd imagine he's probably right.
Right. Yeah. So during an appearance on the Josta show, guitarist Dino Cazares of industrial metal pioneers Fear Factory discussed his decision to recruit Italy's Milo Silvestro as the replacement for the band's original singer Burton C. Bell. Speaking about the Fear Factory vocalist search, Dino said a lot of females stepped up, and there was definitely some females in the top 5 that I almost chose. But it did take a long process for me to find somebody. I was touring with Soulfly around late 2021 up until recently, and in that process, I was looking for singers, and I was very meticulous, because I know how important it is for Fear Factory fans that I picked the right guy, and I believe I know that I got the right dude, so I'm very happy about that.
Well, judging from the sample that they put out, oh, never mind, they didn't do that. That's right. Right? So, no, whatever. I don't know why he keeps going into woke mania and feeling like he has to advertise that he auditions female singers.
Right.
I mean, because you didn't hire one. So what does that's, you know what? Might as well have said that you also auditioned 3 Martians because you didn't bring any of them in either. Stop it.
Do you think that he might truly just be surprised, like how many ladies, submitted auditions for the whole thing? Maybe, but again, you're basically saying, yeah, and none of them were good enough. So, that's how I read it is, yeah, auditioned a whole bunch of women singers and none of them were any good. So I hired a guy. Did you go back and listen to this? I guess he did a Fear Factory.
I did.
What did you think of his voice on that?
It's okay.
Yeah,
You know,
I wasn't blown away.
No, me either. I'm like, it's okay, but you know, again, I want to see it. I want to see it Saturday when they play their first shows. I want to see what it sounds like. I want to hear the low vocal, which is the high vocal. I think anybody can do, you know, or the growl vocal. I mean, not the high vocal, but the growl vocal. But it's that low kind of ghostly, ethereal sound that Burton has that's always separated him. That's going to be tough to recreate. And if the guy just sounds like me or you singing it, then it's like, you know,
straight to the top.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I went back and listened to the, you know, I guess he did Dielectric.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was okay. Like it didn't, if he truly did 300 auditions and this was the guy that won, I mean, I guess we'll see on Saturday, and next week we'll come back and have a different tune. But I watched it last night, and you know, like I said, you know, the screaming and the growling and that's a dime a dozen with metal bands these days. But Burton's clean vocals, clean singing vocals has a tone to it, and I did not like the guy's clean tone at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the sell, is how does he do it and how does he do it live? And I will say, in fairness to this guy, and again, we don't know, we've never even seen this guy or what's his band, Death Channel or something, Death Channel.
Yeah, Dead Channel, I believe is
Dead Channel. You know, I mean, those songs sound okay as well, but you know, it's all going to come down to the live show. And he does have one advantage, which is that Burton was never very good live.
I was about to say the same thing. Burton, not the best live vocalist, but
you know, so if this guy is capable live, that will be an upgrade, even if he doesn't sound exactly the same. And who knows? You know what, dude? It's really hard to tell what Dino wants. You know, because he basically did what's the other band? Why can't I think of it? Bleed the Fifth and Plagues or something. I could think of the albums, but what is the Divine Heresy?
Yeah, I kept wanting to say Once Human, but that was the girl that he obviously auditioned for the band.
Right. No, Divine Heresy was his band. Didn't he form that when the other guys were doing Fear Factory without him as kind of his other Fear Factory?
Right.
So and he had a closer sound with Tommy Vext. You know, the sound, Tommy Vext was closer, at least to my ears, than the guy that he brought in, Milo Silvestro. At least at first taste. At first taste where we've heard, 2 minutes of music. So,
and I will say that what he posted, the cover that he posted that kind of got got Dino's attention to begin with. I mean, that was a home done recording. Like this wasn't this wasn't a Fear Factory sanctioned cover that they could put out with the vocalist search, which is something you and I talked about the other day. Is like, why did they do this? The video, the announcement video looked fantastic, but it should have ended with at least 5 seconds of him doing a scream or a sing or something at rehearsal. 30
seconds of replica or something, just to give you enough of a taste to be like, all right, I'll give this a shot. Where do I buy my ticket?
But like I said, man, I'm excited to see this version of Fear Factory to come out.
I'll be watching YouTube on Sunday. I'm sure you will be too. We'll both be tuned into Blabbermouth or wherever that has the videos, because they'll for sure be up by Sunday. So we'll see.
And in an unrelated and truly coincidental thing, former Fear Factory singer has announced debut exhibition of his photographic works. I just thought it was funny that he just happened to announce this the same day that they announced the new singer.
Yeah. Do you think he had some foresight to that? I do.
I don't know. Maybe he's just been sitting on this and he heard that the announcement was coming soon.
Well, Dino announced 2 weeks ago that the announcement was coming, so he probably said, "Yeah, I'll hang on to that and get when Fear Factory's in the news."
Yeah, the announcement of the announcement of the announcement.
Yeah, why not?
We'll give Burton some love here. Former Fear Factory frontman Burton C. Bell will unveil Paradise Found, his debut exhibition of photographic works at the Vincent Castiglia Gallery. Castiglia In Fort Lauderdale, Florida, from March 11th through May 23rd. Photographs Bell is presenting our representational of his industrial and science fiction aesthetic.
Wow.
So if
you're into his art, why not? Check it out too. Why not?
Yeah, this would be a lot of. I mean, I would definitely go to this if I was in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, why not?
So good times. Maybe he'll accidentally FaceTime call me again.
Maybe he'll real call you and we'll get him on the show to talk about his art.
Yeah, I'll text him. I'll text him, see if he wants to come on. How about that?
Sure, why not? Text him to see if he wants to review the new guy singing his songs.
Let's see here. We'll dive into this, man. You sent this to me, and I've got to be. I'm ecstatic to see my boy Howard Jones back in the limelight here. But Killswitch engaged guitarist Adam D and ex-singer Howard Jones are collaborating on a new project.
Like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Killswitch guitarist Adam, I'm just gonna say Adam D.
Adam D.
And the band's former singer Howard Jones are apparently collaborating on a new project. Earlier today, Jones shared a photo of him and Adam D at what appears to be a Corona, California strip mall. And he included the following message: sushi and going over new demos. It's happening. Hashtag Hojo, hashtag Adam D, hashtag a new project.
Hashtag call me first day buyer.
Yeah. First day streamer.
That's right. Yeah, I'm all for this. I can't wait to hear it. Look, Jesse, I texted you this jokingly, somewhat jokingly, but Jesse's got to be going, what the fuck? Because he's like done solid work with the band. And to have Adam D going back to the old guy from the band, or the old guy, or whatever we're calling him, that's got to be frustrating to him to see that, because it does just like what we're doing right here. It starts the speculation that, well, maybe Howard will come back, and and I don't think that's going to happen. I think Jesse's done a strong enough job that they don't need to bring Howard back, and quite honestly, they don't need to take the risk of Howard having the anxiety problems fuck up the band again, and again, love Howard. So I'm not saying that in a he's a piece of shit. He had anxiety problems. it was hurting the band. So they had to make a move. That being said, man, I can't wait to hear it. Whatever it is, those two working together have not produced a note of bad music. So I'm all in for it. I just hope they don't try to do something like outside the style, to try and it's gonna be
electronic pop music or something.
Yeah, I hope they don't, but I can't see that they would, because even Light the Torch and stuff, that's still right in the Killswitch zone. It sounds pretty similar.
How many years ago do you think Howard Jones left Killswitch?
Oh wow, what, 10?
Yeah, 11 in 2012.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's been a while.
Well, the crazy thing is, this is kind of how Jesse got back into Killswitch, is because Adam D and Jesse started Times of Grace, and then they started working together, right? And then it morphed back into Killswitch when Howard left. So, now Howard is doing the side project with Adam D, and but I will say, I mean, I've loved seeing the Howard Jones jumping up on stage at shows, and they've been touring together and things like that. So there's obviously animosity there, and I think if you're a big enough Killswitch fan, it's almost like Van Halen when they did the Best of Both Worlds tours type stuff like that.
Yeah, it wasn't Van Halen. It was just those two guys. It was Roth and Hagar toured together. Right. Yeah, as without Van Halen. It was with their own bands, but it was those two individual guys. I forget what that was called, the Rumble in the Jungle tour or some shit. It was something like that. But dude, what I would like to see, and it seems like it could happen, it would be great if they did some kind of almost like the Halloween thing. How Halloween has the two singers that Andy Darris and what's his name, the other guy, and they all now tour together as Halloween. Be nice if they did a Killswitch thing like that, where they played half the set of the Jesse stuff and 6 or 7 songs of the Howard stuff, and have Howard sing, and then kind of round it out at the end with the most popular tunes with them both singing.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I think that the only bad part of that for Jesse would be that Howard's era of Killswitch is like the massive stuff. And I'm not putting anything Jesse did down, but like, those Killswitch albums with Howard are what kind
they're
of
the most popular. Yeah, they're the most popular. Although I'll argue this all day long. Atonement is the best record they ever did.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That is a good record. I listened to it again today and was like, fuck, this thing is fucking massive. So good.
Yeah. Anytime I've had the Killswitch guys on, be it the drummer, the singer, bass player, I'm like, we cannot forget about Atonement, because that is one album that could be lost to the pandemic because of when it came out. But man, it is really good. It
is so good. Such a strong note, start to finish, all greatness.
Yeah. And and that's a lot of Adam D stuff too. I mean, he's just one of those dudes.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's super talented and gets no credit, really. I mean, he gets credit from Killswitch fans, but he doesn't get much credit from anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, plus he produced a bunch of a bunch of that new wave of American heavy metal stuff and the whole the New England stuff, with Unearth and all that. So
sure,
he's definitely had his fingerprints on everything up there.
Yeah, I just listen to him and I'm always fascinated that he gets almost no play when people start talking about the great players that are out there. He gets no play, and then you see fucking hacky dudes that have made noise that people know, but like Tom Morello. Tom Morello is regarded as like one of the top 5 guys now on a lot of these dumb lists, and get out of here. He's not one of the top 5 guys.
Right.
And I would put Adam D way above Tom Morello as far as creating, not only creating a sound, but creating a sound that transcended past his own band. Like you were saying, like you take a band like Unearth as a great example. I don't even know the guy's name in Unearth, the guitar player, but he adopted that style that Killswitch does. He literally, if you listen to the first Unearth record to the stuff that they did when they started working more together, it's night and day different. Adam D clearly influenced that band and quite a few of those other bands that came out of that scene. He's been way more influential than, I mean, who else is Rage Against the Machine influenced?
Well,
Audio Slave.
Well, Rage kind of got, as kind of one of the papas of like that whole new metal era too, though. So they kind of got, the early on stage of, if you were into Korn and Rage Against the Machine and all that stuff, you kind of lumped that all in together, I believe.
Right. Yeah, I guess so, but I don't know. I just think Adam. I'm not saying better or worse. I'm saying Adam is very unheralded, where he should get a lot more credit.
Oh yeah,
what he
absolutely, does. Absolutely. Let's dive into friend of the show, Max Cavalera, on Sepultura reunion. He's quote,
"I just like talking to you, Toomey."
Toomey again. Yes. At this moment, I don't need to do anything like that, is the quote.
Okay.
Ex-Sepultura frontman Max Cavalera says that he doesn't need a reunion from the group's classic lineup. The Brazilian four-piece fell apart in 1996 with the exit of Max after the rest of the band split, with vocalist and guitarist wife Gloria as their manager. Max's brother Igor, and then in parentheses it says Igor, but Iggor. They spelled it 2 different ways. Stuck around with the group for another 10 years before leaving Sepultura and reteaming with Max in Cavalera Conspiracy.
Right.
Max addressed the possibility of the classic Sepultura lineup in a recent interview with Thomas S. Orwatt Jr.
Oh, Thomas S. Orwatt Jr. did that interview, did he?
Yes, the Thomas S. Orwatt Jr. They should be the Thomas S. Orwatt Jr. show, not rock interview series. Come on.
And it should also say featuring Thomas S. Orwatt Jr.
Esquire. He said, as transcribed by blabbermouth.net, "I'm very, very busy right now with all of the projects because I've got so many. Soulfly being my main band, but I also Go Ahead and Die with my son Igor and Killer Be Killed. And I'm already playing a lot of the old stuff with my brother. That, to me, right there, it fills the void anyway." Which is probably true.
He's not wrong. Look, there's no value in it really. Outside of Brazil, there's no real value in a Sepultura tour. Let's be honest. At their prime, their prime, they were not as big as Pantera.
No, I don't. I wouldn't say they were.
So that puts them in what, about a 5,000 seat venue?
Oh man, yeah. What would a reunited Sepultura? Andreas, Paulo, Igor, Max,
and let's not forget in the 20 years or whatever it's been that they've been apart, they've both been playing the songs to death. So it's not like those songs went away for any period of time either.
Yeah,
you could literally, if you live anywhere near a big city, you could hear those songs played at least twice a year between Sepultura, the Derek Green version, and Soulfly or Cav Conspiracy, or I don't even know, do they call it Cav Conspiracy, the last couple of tours where they've done like all of Beneath the Remains and all of Arise and stuff?
Yeah,
whatever they call that.
Yeah, they call those things everything, but I think some of it's just Cavalera, some of it's just back to the roots or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, is there
Return
really
to roots?
Is there that much distinction that would make you go and spend $75-$80 for a ticket to hear Paulo Jr. on bass and Igor on drums and Andreas, or to hear Max rejoin, I guess, Max and Igor? I just don't think there is.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, like the last time I saw Soulfly, I will say it was like one of the first shows out of the pandemic, and it was sparsely attended. Yeah. And these Cavalera shows they've been posting videos of, they seem to be pretty, 300-400 people probably in a packed club kind of thing. I'm just trying to think what a full on reunited Sepultura. I mean, I guess overseas they're probably going to headline some festivals.
They would do better, but here, no. I mean, I think another big problem too is way too overexposed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Max is always on tour.
Right.
Is it really that special that you would spend big money on when you could just wait it out and he'll be back in a year anyway with one of his other bands?
I still think I would be pumped, maybe close to the same level as pumped as I am for the Pantera shows. I mean, because this is a full-on Sepultura reunion. If you got the 4 original members types or the 4 classic lineup guys. But I mean, I think I'm in the minority of metal fans. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I guess the only time I saw them was on the Roots tour, and it was Ozzy, Danzig, Sepultura, Biohazard, and Sepultura was amazing.
Sure, I saw him a bunch of times too, dude. They were amazing. Yeah. Question is today's Max Cavalera amazing?
Right.
I say no. He's good. I love him. I love the music he creates. I love the albums.
Yeah.
I love all the albums, but I've seen him live a couple of times recently too, and 4-string guitars Max is not the same as 6-string, 20 years old and 100 pounds lighter Max that used to run the stage and go nuts.
I will say he was doing the 4-string guitar back in the day too. Like,
was he?
That was a thing back in the Sepultura days too. So, I've been watching some of the videos because Mike DeLeon's been posting a lot of videos and going live and all that stuff. I think Mike's adding a lot to Soulfly. He's definitely upped the stage presence for, he's kind of got that. He's got his own, look and his own way, but he's banging his head. He's going crazy. I think Soulfly's in a good spot right now, but give me one tour, give me one show, give me one something. I would be there for a full-on Sepultura reunion.
One show. Yeah. Now we're talking. Tour? I don't think so. I just don't see it. I could see him more going and doing like Pantera did, just headlining those 3 or 4 festivals in Brazil.
Yeah.
Shooting a DVD and giving it to us, and I'd be good with that.
Yeah, could you imagine like a full-on Sepultura reunion in like Chile? Just the entire map would just explode, I guess.
Now that might be worth going to. That might be, and that's the weird thing. I'm bitching about would I pay $75 to see a show, a Sepultura reunion? I might pay $3,000 to fly to Chile, to see that show, to see Sepultura tour in there or in Brazil. It's like São Paulo or somewhere. Can you imagine that show?
Yeah,
their hometown, and they reunite, and it's the only show they're gonna do.
Yeah,
holy shit, that place would explode. You might die. You
One
might
night
die
only.
in that pit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much, because over the years, I mean, you always hear that, Jason Newsted is on the calls on the Metallica meetings and things like that. Like he gets on the business calls with, the thing. And then even over the years, I mean, Phil and Vinny and those guys were on Pantera business calls. Sure. They might not have spoke to each other, but they were on the speakerphone listening. And I wonder how, if at all they ever have to get on like a conference call to be like, hey, we're reissuing Arise, with some new liner notes. Can everybody write, anything like that? I wonder how much that happened over the years, and if at all, like, Andreas and Max will ever have like that moment of like just burying the hatchet and said, let's do something.
I just think the hate is so deep between those guys. The anger or whatever is so deep. Max, and I don't know Max real well. I mean, I've interviewed him a zillion times. I know him about as well as you do. You probably know him a little better than me. But, just from interviewing him, he seems like a prideful guy. Yeah. And he seems like one of those guys that he's never going to forgive them slighting his wife.
True.
I honestly, I've said this for 25 or however many years it's been now. The only way that band ever gets back together is if Max gets divorced. It's the only way that band ever gets back together, because you would have to have Max hating his wife and be like, fuck the bitch, let's get a tour together. That's what you would need to happen. And Max, it ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen with him still married to Gloria. He'll always look at that as disrespecting him and his decisions, because that's how he is. And I just can't see it happening. Truthfully, to the level, and I have no knowledge of this. I would bet my fucking broken wing here that he's not on those conference calls. I'll bet you anything he doesn't attend them. Gloria attends them and tells them what they need to do.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. The only reason I think he got back together with Igor was because of family stuff. Probably got together with their mom or something at Christmas or whatever and sat down with a bottle of tequila and said, let us work this out.
Yeah. If Max gets divorced, he calls Andreas, it happened. Let's get the band back together.
We're going to do the I Hate This Cunt tour.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think if they were to do something together, it would end up being all of them have separate managers and separate buses and separate dressing rooms.
See, I don't think that would happen. A, I don't think the money's there to make that happen. And right. B, I just don't think Max would do that. Max doesn't, and again, I don't know Max very well, so I'm talking out my ass somewhat here. But I just don't think, I think Max enjoys touring life. And I've always I think that's why he does 900 bands, so he never has to come off the road. I think
in the interview I did with him, he said that he gets tour sick when he's home.
Yeah.
Like he said most guys go on tour and they get homesick, and he's like, I'm the exact opposite. When I get home, I get tour sick.
Yeah. But I don't see him as being the guy that's going to want to ride in a separate bus away from the band and not be part of the party after the band and not be having fun. I think that's part of why he wants to tour, is he likes the fun of it. And I just to think about him trying to do a Motley Crue type of a nonsense thing with 4 buses and 4 guys, and I just don't see that working for him personally. Maybe I'm wrong.
I remember back in the day, there was always the rumors, and this is crazy because it was like 96 when they broke up or whatever, he left the band. And I think in like 99 or 2000, like there was rumors of Ozfest trying to get like a reunited Sepultura and paying them like a shit ton of money to do it. And they turned that money down back then. And that was 3 years after the band broke up or after Max left the band or whatnot. I think there would have been a bigger chance of him getting back into Sepultura if Igor was still in the band, and like they did the whole let's have sit down with some tequila or whatnot and hash it out, and then go back because he's his brother's in the band and whatnot. But what they're what's going out of Sepultura now is obviously far from what it was back then.
No, and we're not even addressing this point at all. Even if Max did agree, we still got to worry about what does Igor want to do.
Yeah,
Igor may not want to go back either, and he's got a lot more closer pain or anger or whatever with those guys. So, I mean, we might be talking out our ass that it's all Max, and maybe Igor doesn't want nothing to do with them. Maybe it's been talked about. Igor's like, fuck those guys. They replaced me with Eloy.
My kids play with Eloy growing up. He just grew up to be me.
Yes. Not going to do it.
I don't know, man. Yeah, hey, you give me Sepultura with Eloy and Max, I'm like, I might take that. Eloy Casagrande.
And if you get Max and you don't get Igor, then what is the point?
Right. No, I got you.
Come on. Because it's still not a reunion. It's still three of the guys. It's the same as you've had for most of these years that they've been apart. Three of the guys.
Yeah, but I will say that Max is such a huge part of that. The voice, of any band. But I think Max was a huge part of those early Sepultura stuff for me.
He was, and look, me, dude. I am Team Derek Green. I am an absolute worshiper of the Derek Green era of Sepultura. I think everybody that has written it off because they didn't listen to it, because they just go with that bullshit that if it's not Max, it's not Sepultura. You're all a bunch of dumb fucks that just have never fucking appreciated great music, because especially the last about 5 albums of Sepultura have been fantastic. I mean, they're really, really great records, great metal records. Do they sound like a Rise? No. They sound like what these guys have developed into. But I'm all for that. And, as far as I'm concerned, leave it the way it is. I'm happy having 6 bands all doing the same style of music. It's fine with me.
Max did weigh in on the Pantera issues.
Oh, let me guess. I have not heard this. I'm going to guess. Now, he toured with them. This is interesting because he's toured with them. I'm going to guess he's still friends with Phil, and he goes with, if that's what these guys want to do, it's going to be fantastic. Even though the brothers aren't there, it's still great to keep this music alive.
I think you're a little off on this one. Max Cavalera. Right. I don't really think it's Pantera without the brothers.
Okay.
Full quote.
Wow.
Let's see here. According to, look, Thomas S. Orwatt Jr.
Wow, this guy's getting all the good ones.
I guess they're just pulling multiple things from his interview there. Good job, Thomas. Tommy O. Max, who's spent the last few years playing Sepultura-centric shows with his brother, former Sepultura drummer Igor Cavalera, discussed his views on the Pantera comeback in an interview with Thomas S. Orwatt Jr. of the Rock Interview series. He said, there's 2 sides for that, right? It's tough because on one hand, I understand the fans want to see it, and you still have somewhat of a big part of that band, but you are missing 2 key elements on the brothers that are irreplaceable in my eyes. So it's tough. It's really tough.
Fair enough. He's not wrong.
He continued, the only thing that maybe it's a little strange that they call it Pantera. It should be called something kind of a tribute to Pantera, I think. It would have been a little bit more of a tribute to those songs and to that era, because I don't really think it's Pantera without the brothers.
All right. I don't disagree, but let's dig into that a little bit, because you and I, let's go back 2 months when this all was, or 3 months, whatever it was, when this all was announced. Me and you, I think we both said, I don't give a shit what it's called.
Yeah.
I'm going. And I think we both honored that. We both have tickets to multiple shows, I believe, right?
Yep.
So we're definitely honoring what we said as far as that goes. But now that they've played gigs, and now that they're touring, and we know all the tour dates for the next 2 years, basically, are you still on board with them calling this Pantera?
Yeah, I'll say I'm on board with it. I mean, like from the videos I've seen, I mean, they basically, if they went back to old Talk To Me episodes, they did exactly what I asked them to do. I wanted to see the logo on fire. I wanted to see the giant, the light show. I wanted to see a massive Pantera show, not, a Pantera flag and them play the songs because, to me, Pantera was the stage show, the lights, obviously Diamond, Vinny, and Rex and Phil, but then Pantera was the home videos. It was there was a
lifestyle.
Pantera.
Yeah, it was a lifestyle. It was the whole thing.
It wasn't just music; it was the humor and everything else about the band too. So yeah, I think they are definitely paying it tribute. I think anybody that's like, why don't they just call it a tribute to Pantera? I'm like, I don't think you just understand the music business. If that's your gripe,
I have a somewhat different approach now. I mean, I'm still obviously going, and I can't wait to go, and I'll see it the 3 times I'm scheduled to see it, and I'll see it any more times that it's anywhere close to me seeing it. Yeah, because I love that music enough to go see it, and quite honestly, I'm an Anthrax fan and a BLS fan too. So to me, the lineup is perfect. I don't care. I know I can't have the guys I want there, so you bring in 2 of my other favorites in, good, all good. That said, I don't necessarily love that it is considered or being considered as Pantera. I went to Wikipedia and I saw listed and I see former members Dimebag and Vinnie Paul, and it's like, come on, dude.
The former member section is Terry Glaze, Vinny, and Dime.
And Dime. It's like, come on. That doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't. And quite honestly, as much as I think Zach has done a very solid job not doing a mockery of it by mimicking it, by putting his own spin as well as having the signatures in it, I think it is different. And I do think that it doesn't have quite the same feel. I mean, it's still great, but it doesn't have quite the same feel. I'm a little bit torn on them calling it Pantera. Now, if they record music and call it Pantera, then I'm going to be completely off the train. I will say that. I am not going to accept a Pantera record with Zakk Wylde as the guitar player. I'm not. I'll listen to it. I'll never acknowledge it as Pantera, though. It'll be the New Illegals record as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that would be tough. I mean, musically, when you think of a studio album, you think of the sounds of the guitars and the drums. Like that was Vinny and Dime, don't get me wrong, huge part of Pantera. Like that, might even be the biggest part of Pantera. Obviously, as a bass player, Rex is an amazing bass player if you're listening for it, but obviously you have to kind of be paying attention to notice that Rex is killing it as much as Dime. Right. But yeah, if they try to make a new album, like I will listen to it once or twice and we'll definitely come on here and be like, I can't believe they're doing it. But I mean, is it similar to what Guns N' Roses is doing? Like they're still because obviously, Gilby's out there, Izzy's out there, Steven's out there, like they're all still alive. But they're calling it Guns N' Roses with 900 backing musicians,
Yeah. And how many times, and this isn't just for you, because I know you're not a big GNR fan, but as somebody that is a GNR fan, I can count the number of times I've listened to Chinese Democracy. Yeah. In the 12 years or whatever that it's been out on my hands, versus Appetite for Destruction, which I've listened to 9 billion times. I just don't see it as, even the music that Guns N' Roses put out in the last 2 years, that Absurd tune and the whatever that other one was, Hard School or whatever.
Yeah, Hard School.
Nobody would look. We're struggling to remember the names of these songs.
Right.
And that's because it's not the original lineup. It's because it's the band with 2 keyboard players and, drummer that nobody knows. And, when the guys that you want to see are not there, and they could be, and that's the problem. That's the problem for that. With Pantera, I mean, they can't really be there. But man, to try and present new music, hey, it's a new Pantera song. Fuck you. No, it's not. It's not.
Well, I will say that there's probably nothing that they could put out that will be worse than Piss.
Yeah, that was
and that's technically like the last new Pantera song that we heard. And I'm just like, oh, that song is awful.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, and this is not going to go over popular. I'll get ready for the hate from the YouTubers now. They were on the downslide anyway, musically. I'll say it. I thought Reinventing the Steel was not good. I did not think. I mean, I do not like that album. I don't listen to it. Has a couple of moments. It has. That what's that one? I'll grind that axe for a long time. That song's okay. But overall, not really a great record. And then Damage Plan was 2 steps below that.
Yeah.
And I don't just point to Pat Latchman on that either. I point to musically, it was not as good. It just wasn't as good musically. And hell yeah, it was even less good than that. So
yeah, they were definitely a sum of all the parts, because everything that they kind of did post Pantera, even, I guess, Down was good. Like, obviously Down's good. Yeah, Down, like that first Down record, obviously some of the other stuff after that. But I'm saying, like, most of the post Pantera or any side project Pantera stuff was never as good as Pantera.
Yeah. Well, I just always thought they hit their peak with Great Southern Treadkill, which is my favorite Pantera of all of them, because it's the heaviest, it's the hardest. After that, they went back. It didn't sell as well, so they went backwards to try and sell a couple more records. And they tried that. It didn't really work. I mean, I don't know, was Yesterday Don't Mean Shit, and what was the other one? 68, we did it the world cold. What was that song?
Goddamn Electric.
What is that
Revolution
song?
Is My Name.
Revolution? No.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Anyway, it wasn't as good. It just was not received as well. They started their downward spiral at that point. And again, I love Pantera. You know that, dude. They're my favorite band ever. So I don't say it to be disrespectful. I'm just saying it that Pantera was already starting to end. And for them to try and reconstitute it without the 2 guys that were so important to what made them in the first place, that would be embarrassingly bad. I think it would just not be good. It would not be Pantera. No way. It just wouldn't feel Pantera-y at all.
I will say that if you go back to Reinventing the Steel, especially the Terry Date remixes, because Reinventing the Steel always gets that kind of bad rap of like, oh, that was a terrible album. But then you go back and listen to it, you're like, actually, this ain't too bad.
I'll go with the first theory that it is not a good album.
No, it's definitely. I think I ranked my top 5 of the 5, and it definitely wasn't my least favorite.
What's your least favorite? Trendkill.
I believe it was Trendkill is my favorite.
All right.
I think it's Cowboys from Hell was my least favorite.
Yeah, see, that's where I'm at too. I always thought I put Cowboys right before Reinventing the Steel. Just kind of, it's good. It's got good songs on it. It's not awful, but the middle 3 are the 3. You get those albums, you're good.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
Well, we are coming up on an hour, sir. Knocking it out.
Good.
You are dying.
I'm better than the last time. Last time I was dying 3 minutes in. Today I figured out how to put my hand inside my hoodie, and I got my thumb hooked on my shirt, and it's just giving me just enough support to not make my arm throb out of my fucking body.
Well, I'm glad that's where you went with that. I'm like, you got my hand in my pants, like Al Bundy over here.
That's right.
All right. Well, you got some reviews, recommendations. What do you got going on?
Reviews, Showtime, season 2 of Your Honor started with Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad.
Right.
If you haven't watched that show, it's really, really fucking good. It's the base storyline is Bryan Cranston's a judge, and his son drunk drives and kills a kid, and the kid is actually the kid of a gangster, like the most notorious gangster in their town. And they find out about it, but they don't find out it's the son. They think that it's Bryan Cranston that did it. And so the gangster is strong-arming Bryan Cranston into throwing a trial to get his other son off, who got arrested on some other shit. That's the basic storyline. And I won't go further than that, but it's a really, really good show. And season 2 just came out. It is excellent. I definitely recommend watching that. And then as far as music, I said it before, I've been on this train since I saw this thing today. Atonement, Killswitch. Nice. It was forgotten. I think it really got swallowed up by the pandemic. It shouldn't have. and people need to go back and visit it because I think too many people that like Killswitch did not listen to it, and it's just a fucking ass kicker on the same level to me as like Heartache or any of the classic stuff.
Let's see. I was going through my new release radar on Spotify, and I just had it playing, and a song came on. And I was like, "This is kind of quirky, kind of death metal-y, kind of like death metal, Mr. Bungle."
Yeah,
I don't know. It was bizarre. So I looked down, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this band called?" Alien Fucker. With the song,
nice.
With the song called "Horny and Suicidal."
Very nice.
I was just like, really, that's where we're at. We're naming our band Alien Fucker, and a song called "Horny and Suicidal."
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I mean, it's definitely not going to be groundbreaking or whatnot. Right. But it did make me really think about a band like that is one of those bands where they're quirky enough with just a quirky enough name that they're going to get a few tours, and in 20 years they're going to do a reunion thing, and everybody's going to freak out like, "Oh, dude, Alien Fucker's back together."
This is great. Dude, I have a question for you before you get to your TV recommendation.
Okay.
And it's just because you're talking about Spotify recommendations. I think you're a fan of this band, and I'm not. I'm aware of them, but I'm not. But I was listening, and I got fed the new EP from Story of the Year.
Right. Yeah. I was going to talk about them, but go ahead.
Yeah. Are they normally that poppy? I listened to that new EP, and I was like, I thought these guys were a metal band, and this new EP is not very metal at all.
Yeah. The new album, it's really throwing me off, and like. The latest single is that 2005.
Yeah.
And I think I don't like it when a band does that. Like, even like Falling in Reverse's new single did it again, where he's just like, I still have the voices in my head. Like, he kind of starts out with a line from another song.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And like, or songs that, who was it? I mean, I know it was a joke song, but it's like Jim Brewer did that whole like, we were on a highway to hell, and like he was just dropping all these like old, old 70s band references, things like that. Like any song that just kind of rehashes old stuff. But 2005 for Story of the Year is kind of hitting me like that, where I'm like, I don't know, man. This just, I get it's supposed to be nostalgic, but it's they're rehashing some of the classic lyrics off of the first album and all that stuff. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm not feeling that song. I was feeling the other songs so far. I need to take another deep dive into it and kind of get into it.
Because softer? Does it feel softer to you than they've been?
Oh yeah, it's super soft.
Yeah, that was soft. My thing. Is I've heard them, but I'll be honest, I've never ever dove into their music and listened because I always thought the name of their band was stupid. So I just never went further than that. But I listened to it and I was like, I know Toomey is like into this band, and they seem maybe you put that in your Paramore closet of guilty pleasures or something. I don't know.
No, yeah, no. The Page Avenue was really slick. Like the debut album was slick, and it had some like emo anthems on it or whatever. And they actually went to Steve Evans for the second album because I mean they were all new metal and hardcore kids kind of growing up, so they were like, holy shit, the scene's going to make fun of us. So the second album, In the Wake of Determination, is super heavy. Like like I said, it was Steve Evans did it. They were trying to go a little bit more raw. And then they realized once the album didn't sell as much, they're like, fuck, we should have stayed with, because they did the first album with John Feldman, and they were kind of on the used kind of path or whatnot. But yeah, man, they've got, they have their place. They had an emo night here in Louisville, and Dan, the singer, was I guess they do the guest singers or whatnot. Right. But he was the guest here. So.
Okay. That's cool. All right. I was just curious. It was one of those that popped up into my feed, and it was that 2005 song. And I was like, ooh, what is this? I was like, why is this in my metal feed?
Get out of here.
And then I saw who it was. I was like, well, let me listen to the rest of this, because I know you've interviewed them too, right? You've definitely.
Yeah, I grew up around those guys. So yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you know them, but so I gave it a listen. I was like, wow, I thought these guys were metal. Guess not.
Yeah, go back and check out In the Wake of Determination, though. I think you would enjoy it.
All right.
I mean, Adam, I mean, talk about Pantera fans. Those guys fucking love Pantera.
No, they sure ain't showing it in this new record.
Yeah, they didn't show it. I mean, maybe not influenced, but they did like home videos and stuff. Like they've got for both. They were totally ripping on Vulgar Video and all that stuff, man.
Right. Nice, very cool.
They were like Pantera Vulgar Video emo kids.
Okay,
but yeah, good for them. Actually, the other recommendation I have is something I actually recommended to you. Taylor Lewan, now former Tennessee Titan. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But he he has the Bussin' with the Boys podcast. He interviewed Jeffree Star, and it cracked me up reading the comments section on, because I mean, obviously 99% of their fans are meathead football fans.
Sure.
And you throw Jeffree Star out there and like videos of Jeffree, and Jeffree's talking about, blowing dudes and stuff like that. Like, right. I mean, and so many people were like, I was a first day long time listener and I'm unsubscribing.
Oh, shut up.
What is this woke bullshit you guys are trying to pull? And I'm like, dude, Jeffree's been around for, he was been around for since like 2006 or whatever.
Look, here's a newsflash. Just because somebody talks about doing gay shit doesn't mean that you're gay hearing it.
Right.
Settle down.
But I will say that Taylor, the little intro stuff, Taylor was talking about how he was worried about how he came off in the interview. And so I listened to the interview, and it's a fantastic interview if you want to hear somebody talk about how they how Jeffree built that empire, that he's got a cosmetic line that's he's a millionaire many, many times over because of all of his, like, maybe even with a billionaire with a B kind of thing. So he's built that, built this huge empire off of just kind of being one of the first viral sensations, because on MySpace Jeffree Star was huge, and then I remember shirts started popping up and music started popping up, but it was fun to hear like kind of his journey, and I will listen to anybody's kind of origin story about how they got from like point A to point B. So Taylor killed the interview. But yeah, today as we record, the Tennessee Titans have released Taylor Lewan. I'll throw this at the end here, man. 9 years with the team. I mean, the last 2 years he's missed a ton of time with ACL injuries and stuff.
Right.
But as for a character and those lean years of the the 2 and 14, the 3 and 13, kind of getting the team back on track. It's kind of like an end of an era type thing, because he posted this great video today of like kind of a montage. It's like 9 minutes long or something.
Okay.
Of just all these like clips of him over the years, and you see him and Mariota and him and Tannehill and him and AJ Brown and the Derrick Henry runs, and and you're like man, like a lot of this stuff's kind of coming to an end. It kind of bummed me out, man.
Unfortunately, dude, everything's changing in the NFL. We're getting a whole new guard in right now. Thank God for the XFL though, right?
That's right.
Me and you on the same team. It seems like we both are Sea Dragons fans, although they didn't do well.
Yeah, I saw you post that you were into the Sea Dragons. So I was looking at the rosters, and the only other team that I might have rooted for was the Vegas team, I believe, the Gamblers or whatever they were.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I'll ride with the Sea Dragons. And yeah, it's just funny, like texting stupid shit about, man, if these. Who were we playing the other day? I don't even remember who we.
I
were
don't
playing
remember.
The DC Defenders.
Yeah,
I was like, this Defenders defense, man. If we don't, there's running back and all this stuff, man. I will say, and I think you were talking about how the USFL is not starting until like April or something.
Yeah, not till the middle of April. That's a mistake.
Well, I think the XFL started too quick. Like
you think?
I'm not missing football yet. Like I'm not itching for football enough to where like I need just anything. Like,
yeah, but if you wait till April, the problem with waiting till April is the NBA playoffs and the start of baseball is all at the same time. So you're gonna, most NFL fans, not all, but most, are also fans of one or the other.
Yeah,
baseball or NBA or both. And I think if you wait till April, you lose those people that are pumped for their team starting the season in baseball, or obviously the NBA playoffs start. So, that's an exciting time. Now, look, I don't think there's any great time to do it, because the US or the XFL, they're starting right now. They're going to play 2 weeks, then they're going to have to compete with March Madness.
Right.
And that's going to be difficult all by itself. So
I think I was listening to one of the radio guy, the sports radio talk show host or whatever, and he said the one thing that bugs him about the XFL and the USFL is it's out of season for the sport is out of season right now. So like
true,
like you know, like you said, we're about to get into March Madness. We're about to get into the the baseball and the football, or I'm sorry, in the basketball playoffs, hockey. I start paying attention a little bit more to the hockey.
Sure,
things like that. So you do kind of divert your attention into like each little step and things like that. Obviously, the draft and all that crap's coming up, which I did see that the USFL drafted players already, but I'm like, what happens if these players get drafted by the NFL? Like, what happens there?
Yeah, or the XFL. I mean, what happens there? Are they locked in? Is it like wrestling where they can't switch?
I just wonder how watered down these leagues are going to be, because I mean, there's like another arena league coming.
And then there's the fan controlled league.
Yeah, it's just like, where are you going to start finding players? You're going to start, me and you are about to suit up.
Hey, if the pay is good enough.
Well, you have to get your arm worked on.
I'll coach.
You have to have two. There you go.
Just wheel me out in a bed. I'll coach.
There you go, man. Well, speaking of beds, man, I'll let you get back to yours so you can rest up. You got a big week of CMS and everything else coming up. So
yeah, maybe.
and we did a big hour and 6 minutes, man. So
look at that.
So, all right. Well, make sure you go rate, review, subscribe to the podcast, leave a nice comment in the YouTube section here, so we can get unratioed by certain people.
Yeah, and, no kidding.
If you like the show, leave a comment on YouTube.
That's right.
And make sure to hit subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. And so for the Talk to Me podcast here, notfest.com, I've been Joshua Toomey.
I'm still Chris Agan.
And we will talk to you soon.
See ya.